Hey folks, hope you're doing good today, having a good weekend and all that jazz. Now today we're going to check out another home-produced one-man band, and I think that's nearly every day this week we've either had a one-man band or bands that are recording and doing it all themselves at home, and I absolutely love it. I'm as interested and excited to check out people doing their own music from start to finish, or a one-man band who's doing it all themselves, as I am to hear a really cool, professional, well-done studio album. Because to me, these guys get me excited, because I really think moving forward, doing your own music, recording and mastering and mixing your own music is going to be the way forward. It's going to be the future of music. And more people are going to get their hand to it and figure it out. And they'll just be free to make as much music as they like without having to pay some guy in a studio to do it for them. I think it's absolutely dope. So today we're going to check out a brand new band to the channel, one-man band. This goes by the name of Castle Ultra. It's got a little bit of a blurb here for me to read about, and it says it's a one-man band. We used to be a full band that formed in 2004. They disbanded in 2010 because it just kind of fell apart. His name is Mike. He was the sole songwriter of the band anyway. He's a multi-instrumentalist, so he figured, why not do it all myself now? Absolutely agree with that. This was all recorded by me in my home studio in Southern California, and it's my first attempt at recording music, so I'm not only going to get better from here. And I absolutely agree with all of that as well. So he's got his head screwed on about it. He knows he's not going to be the best coming straight out the gates, but he wants to get better and he wants to keep trying at it. That's what I'm all about. Very, very cool. So I'm excited to listen to this one and get on board with this guy. The track that we're going to listen to is called The Curtain Wall. Let's get it on the screen and check it out. Here we go. Yeah. Well, he's done a great job, I can tell straight away. Nice and loud, nice and punchy. Guitars sound great, drums sound great. Let's go. Looks like he's a big Freddy Krueger fan as well. I love those movies. Yeah. Great energy in this one. Yes! As you can see, I had a smile on my face the whole time this track was on because this guy just impressed me straight out the gate. I could tell he'd done a great job on the mix. When you bear in mind this is his first mix, he's done an absolute superb job of getting this track sorted out and put together. And again, it just vindicates me even more that these are going to be the kind of guys going forward making music that feel, you know, they can play all the instruments. They were in a band, it fell apart. And now they're just left there thinking, well, should I try and find another whole bunch of band members or should I just try and do it myself? And he's done it himself and he's done an absolute superb job of it. Man, brilliant. I enjoyed checking him rocking out in the video as well, seeing his nice guitar and all his Freddy Krueger and horror posters because I'm into all that stuff as well. So very, very cool. But man, this guy, you nailed it. I thought the mix was superb. You could hear all the elements of the band. You could hear the bass grinding away in there as well. I wouldn't have minded if we had a bit more low end of the bass, but I really appreciate that we could still hear the bass and it had its own place within the mix. The guitar sounded great. The riffage was great. Nice kind of classic metalcore-y riffing stuff with a nice hardcore beat behind it, which has been lost from the more modern stuff nowadays. So it is very corey metalcore, which I like a lot. Had a great energy. Drums sounded great. He did great drum beats as well to move the energy of the track around, nice fills and stuff like that. The double bass sounded really heavy and they were punchy and up in the mix, so it added a lot of weight and stuff to the mix as well. And the vocal sounded great as well. And when you consider that he's done all of those elements himself, man, absolutely dope. I really get excited by these kind of bands, if you can't tell, because I just think it's so dope that one guy has got this whole job done, whereas normally to get this kind of music done with this many layers of guitar and stuff as well would take 5 dudes, or 4 dudes if he's singing and playing guitar at the same time. But you know, most metalcore bands are 5 dudes and have 2 guitarists and a great drummer and a guy who's spent his life learning to play bass and all the rest of it. And this guy has got the job done all on his own. And I wouldn't say his mix sounded amateur in any way. The only thing I would say is maybe a bit more low end of the bass would have been nice to give it a bit more low end power because it was very thrashy. But that still wasn't an issue because early classic metalcore was thrashy in the guitars anyway, so it sounded right. But if you wanted to be a bit more modern classic metalcore, give it a bit more low-end bass for your next one is what I would say. The only other thing that kind of caught my ear that I thought, man, it would have been a bit nicer if it was slightly different was the volume of the vocal. The guitars and everything, the drums are right up in your ears, nice and loud and punchy, had a good clarity to them as well. And the vocal just seemed a little bit muffled compared to that. Now that might just be an EQ issue, maybe bring out the highs a bit more, kind of 10k mark, put a bump around there to give it a bit more air and kind of high-end spaciousness. But yeah, the vocals just seemed a little bit dull within the mix compared to the brightness of the guitars and the punchiness of the drums. But that's very, very minor nitpicking. And when you consider this is this guy's first mix, I mean, to be honest with you, I find it hard to believe it is your first mix because I tell you now, my first mix didn't sound anything quite like that whatsoever. And even now, that would be as good as my mix could sound. So you did an absolute superb job if this is your first mix. No doubt you're going to keep getting better, like you said. And if you keep getting better, people are going to start wanting to pay you to do their mixes as well, because that was a very, very nice one. So super proud and happy to get this guy on the channel. Another one-man band doing it right and just vindicating me and with my opinion that these kind of guys are going to be the future of music. I really believe it. So there you go. I've really enjoyed checking out this guy and seeing what he's up to. Hopefully he keeps sending in his submissions so we can see his mixes get better. I just love getting on board with one-man bands and seeing what they're up to. Very, very cool. Hope you're having a good weekend. If you're in a one-man band or any band and you think, hey, it'd be cool if this guy's talked about our music, send a submission in. The links are all in the description, and we'll check you out next week on the channel and talk about your music as well and see what you're up to. Anyway, hope you have a good one, guys. We'll see you around. Bye.